What's up, people? I am back for another video. This is the first time in a while I'm going to be doing a list. I figured because I've been dodging a lot. It's just because last several Mondays have just been really busy. So I figured why not this Monday? And I know next Monday is Christmas, but fuck it. I will be doing two lists in a row. So I'll be doing 2008 today, and then I'll do 2009 next Monday. But 2008 was such a really good year. That was the year I really remember because, like, Dark Knight, Iron Man, and obviously that's going to be my number one, but Iron Man, Incredible Hulk. There was a lot of heavy hitters that year. And I just remember just being, like, hyped for a lot of them. Like, even one that's not on my list, but Hancock, even that one. And I know that's, like, just kind of a side thing that Will Smith did. I actually liked that movie. Like, that came out that year. I don't know. I was, I think I was like 6th grade at the time, and yeah, I just remember all these movies coming out and just it feeling like such a big deal. So because some of the other movies, like I mentioned in my other list, I was a bit younger for. So this one, I was like, I vividly remember. So, but yeah, 2008, I figured was just gonna be fun. Next year, when we do 2009, is gonna be a little hard. It's gonna be a little harder because it just wasn't as much. Like the only two big ones I could think of are Watchmen and Inglourious Bastards are probably like the only two big ones because you had like shit like Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen. You had fucking Jennifer's Body, which was awful. Like there was just a lot of bad movies that year. So we'll see if I can even come up with a list. But yeah, but before we get into it, I think I said the other day, but I just wanted to finalize what I got going on this week. Tomorrow I will be doing Santa's Sleigh, not Santa's Sleigh. I'll be doing Fat Man with Mel Gibson. I'm gonna be honest. This was one, and not this I forgot about. I wasn't thinking about it, and then I saw someone mention it on Twitter. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I probably should do Fat Man since I did other Mel Gibson movies several months ago. So why not do Fat Man on Christmas time? So we'll do that one tomorrow. Wednesday I'll do Santa's Sleigh. Thursday I'll do I don't remember what I'm doing Thursday. It'll come to me. And then Friday for sure I'll be doing X-Men X-Men Apocalypse. So I'll be doing that one. Oh, and I know I said I was gonna review Evil, but I watched it last night. I don't think it's worth even doing a whole video on. Just really quick. It's very much just a giant. It feels like a giant skit that just somehow got turned into a movie. If I'm being honest, it didn't feel like a fucking movie to me. It really doesn't. It felt like a giant skit, and I just felt like I couldn't do a whole video on it, so that's why I just opted out of reviewing it. But I did want to at least somewhat talk about it. So, Oh, I'm fucking stupid. I remember what I'm doing Thursday. I'm going to be reviewing Krampus. So, a couple Christmas reviews this week. So, and then Saturday, I probably don't know what I'm doing. I think the weekend, I don't really know what I'm... Actually, Sunday, I might roast Aquaman too, because I think that's this week. But I'm going to wait till whenever it's up on the site. So, but aside from that, that's kind of what I got going on this week. But let's get into my 2008 list. Another thing I will say about 2008, that was the year I started, because I was a young wrestling fan. I watched like in the Attitude Era, a little bit of the early Ruthless, but then like around, it was either 2003 or 2008. I stopped 2003 or 4. It's one of those. I stopped watching wrestling. I just kind of got out of the habit of watching it. And then in 2008, I guess more a little bit late 2007, because this is like early YouTube. They just had like, this was back when like, yeah, YouTube had so many wrestling videos. And yeah, matches. So I started just kind of watching. Well, I watched old shit again, like Attitude Era stuff. And then eventually I just kind of even got into like the little bit of the Ruthless Aggression era time I missed, and then eventually I started watching again in 2008. So this is the year I got back into wrestling, like officially. So I do definitely hold this year a little bit in love for that too. But yeah, let's get into the list. So my number 10 technically, meant to say not number one, is the Prom Night remake. And I know it's weird because it's a remake, but this is one of the few remakes at this time that I actually really liked. I thought it was a remake, but it's also I look at it more of a reboot than a remake because it doesn't really copy the story of the original. Thoroughly, they changed it. Like this one, they made it about Donna, main girl, being stalked by her creepy teacher. Because her teacher starts having like basically starts being infatuated with her. So and you have Idris Elba in the movie as the main detective. The only thing I kind of wish the movie was more about him trying to chase the killer, but I get it. They were trying to make it that Fenton, who's this like teacher of hers, started like having a thing for her and basically killed her family. And then, time jump, she's going to a prom and Fenton follows her there and kills a couple people in the hotel while he's there, and then eventually chases her. I like the movie. It's a decent remake or retelling. I also really do like some of the kills. I like what they. I mean, the premise is realistic. They went with this. Stalker teacher. It works. Um, I also really liked some of the kills. They were realistic, but not too out there. I thought the final chase scene was pretty good. Decent enough characters. Like these aren't characters like it's a slasher movie, so the characters aren't necessarily gonna be the best. But I still really like it. I remember watching it the first time. I think I watched it a little bit after I watched the original, and I actually really especially at that time with the amount of remakes there were, this is one of the better ones. So it's not an amazing movie. That's why I put it at number 10. But I had to put it on the list. So that's my number 10 is Prom Night. My number 11. My number 8, 9. Sorry, I'm fucked up. So I just woke up too. My number 9 is Wanted. I never read the comic. I just remember the movie coming out because Angelina Jolie was in it and Morgan Freeman was in it. I didn't really know who James McAvoy was. I just first seen him, and man, that movie was something. I remember the gun physics. Wesley Gibson starts off as this normal guy, and then he gets hired by this organization, and then that's when we get one. And like that's when we got that crazy. It's one of the reasons I really love the movie. It's been a little bit since I've watched it, but I remember seeing it in theaters, just being wowed by the shooting and the gun play. Is one thing I really love in this movie is the gunplay. I've never read the comic, so I've just seen this as a movie. And I remember really liking it. Decent enough characters, good action. I remember really loving the ending with McAvoy killing Sloane, which is Morgan Freeman's character. Yeah, it's a great movie. Obviously you got everybody turning on Wesley towards the end, but it's still it's an awesome movie. Actually, you know what? Maybe next month, since I don't really got a lot going on, I think sometime next month I'll review it. Because it has been a little bit since I've watched it, and I kind of want to refresh myself with it since I'm talking about it. Um, and yeah, I remember just the cinematography and the shooting style is what I really love. And the gunplay. But just even when they're not shooting, I think just good characters to follow. And obviously Angelina Jolie. This is when, women can still be hot in movies, so they let Angelina Jolie be fucking hot. But really awesome movie. Definitely gonna review it at some point. I don't know when. I know I'm stupid. I said January. I'll review it in January because I think I want to refresh myself with it. So that's my number 9. Wanted. My number 8 is The Forbidden Kingdom. This is a movie I reviewed several years ago. I remember seeing this just because it was Jackie Chan and Jet Li in a fucking movie together. That's what really sold me was that. I was like, oh my god, it's Jackie Chan and Jet Li in a movie together. Fortunately, didn't get to see it in theaters at the time. But I remember just it coming out. I think it was one of those things. I didn't necessarily know when it was coming out. It just kind of came out. I remember watching it. I think probably a little bit after it came out, and just being wowed. I mean, it's just a great the fact that it starts off as this guy who just watches martial arts film, and he's transported to. It's basically it's almost like martial arts Last Action Hero. It's like because it's kind of like the except it's not a kid, but it's like a dude who's really into martial arts movies, and he finds a golden staff. He basically gets transported to a world that essentially is ancient. It's a martial arts movie. Basically, he meets Bruce Lee and not Bruce Lee, Jet Li, and Jackie Chan. Oh, Jackie Chan Lu Yan is like his drunken master. I love and then his chemistry with Jet Li in the movie as the Monkey King, who we see, their fight, the fight alone, just to see these two fight was amazing. It was a really good fight. I think I wouldn't be surprised with all their work, just to see Jackie Chan and Jet Li, especially because I would still say this is somewhat still prime like Jet Li. I would still say this is kind of prime Jet Li. And Jackie Chan, obviously, this is like a year after Rush Hour 3, and he was still going great in that movie. So he still had it. So that was an amazing fight to see. It sucks that it took this long for them to do a movie together, but it's fine. I love the world it's in. I love that Scott, the main character, is actually a pretty decent character. And yeah, it's very much a fun movie, especially if you love Jackie Chan and Jet Li. You'll love this movie. I'd honestly say it's worth watching just for the fight, you know? So overall, awesome movie. I had fun reviewing it a couple years ago. So yeah, that's my number 7. I actually might rewatch it at some point soon because I really do love that movie. I might do like a Jet Li binge. And yeah, but anyway, before I get into my number 7. My number 7 is actually I think it's really underrated. It's one of the MCU movies that I really feel like a lot of people put down or seem to put at like the lower end. The Incredible Hulk. I love that movie. I've always have. Ed Norton to me was always one of my. He's probably the closest to the comics to me. I've never liked Ruffalo's Hulk really. He was fine in the first Avengers movie, but then the rest of them, But Ed Norton was just so good. I love General Ross. Liv Tyler is pretty good as Betty Ross. I've always loved the look of Norton's Hulk in terms of when he's in the Hulk mode. I love the action. I actually love the inner battle between Bruce Banner and Hulk in this. I love how well done it is, and it's like a Hulk comic. He's a loner. The government's. I think it's a way better done than Ang Lee's, which Ang Lee's Hulk I don't hate as much as I used to, but I definitely still think it's not a good movie. I think this did kind of what that movie was trying to do way better. And Abomination. Just to see Abomination. Granted, yeah, I wish he had the ears. That's the only thing. But whatever. That fight was fucking awesome in the end, man. And visually, that movie holds up. Like, this movie holds up way more than a lot of the even current MCU movies. In terms of CGI. Like, the Hulk and... That fight looks incredible visually still. So... very much recommend it. Especially as someone who's a Hulk fan, I really love that this movie, the way it does Bruce Banner and Hulk's story very well. And that inner battle, because that's the thing that's in the comics, and Hulk, that's what makes Hulk kind of a tragic character. And I think this movie kind of highlights that. And unfortunately, I think it's like the last time we really see Hulk at his best. I mean, I know a lot of people like Hulk in the first Avengers. I like him when he's in Hulk mode, but I don't really care when he's Bruce Banner. I'm just going to be honest. I've never really ever liked Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. So it's not just because Mark Ruffalo's a piece of shit in real life. I've never really ever liked his Hulk, even before learning he's a piece of shit in real life. But yeah, the Incredible Hulk's awesome, man. I hate that it gets kind of shit on these days, and just it's often a lot of people's like lower MCU rankings. I'm like, I've watched this before. Was it before Civil War, before Endgame? Incredible Hulk's a way better film than Endgame. So, anyway, that's my number 8. My number 7. My number 6 is another MCU movie, the one that started it all. The first Iron Man. And I know this is lower. And I know some people see that as blasphemy, that it should probably be like after the. In a lot of people's eyes, this would probably be after like The Dark Knight for the best of 2008. But just being honest, my only real negative with the movie is the villain. I love Jeff Bridges, but I think he's weak as a villain. I have to look and remember. I don't even remember his name. Oh, Obadiah. I like the fight in the end, but that was it. I think everything else would totally. That opening, the desert scene is one of my favorite sequences. It's one of the best sequences in a comic book film, especially when he first builds his suit, or the scene when he first destroys the tank, and when he first suits up in the Iron Man suit we know. Which to me, I'm gonna be honest. Looking back, I think this movie had the best Iron Man suit film wise. That suit is straight up out of the comics, to the point even the comics like after this movie kind of changed the design to that. And this is easily the best Iron Man suit has looked, because one, it's not that nanotech shit, which unfortunately kind of just took over the current MCU, just became that nanotech shit, which it's fine with Iron Man, but even then it takes away just when he first suits up, when not the first suits up, when he puts on the prototype suit, as I call it. I'm talking about when he suits up in the suit we know, and he first learns to control, and that's like such an iconic scene. That's why I think I still love it. I still had to put it on the list, but I just the villain. Your superhero film needs to be as good as the hero needs to be good as your villain. I just don't think Obadiah just did it for me, and it sucks. 'Cause I like Jeff Bridges, but and maybe who knows? Maybe I need to rewatch it one of these days, and maybe he'll hold up. Maybe he'll age better. But at the time, I just remember not really liking him. Just like, yeah, he's kind of an villain. Like Abomination and the Incredible Hulk's a way better villain. I would still say this is probably a better movie than the Incredible. That's why I have it a little bit higher. But I would, villain wise, I think that's better. I just felt Jeff Bridges. He didn't really. Though the final fight was fucking awesome between Ironmonger and Iron Man. That was just so cool to see. And that scene in the soundtrack, fucking Back in Black, that's what hooked me initially, was the fact that they played that in the trailer. I remember when the trailer came out and that song played. Oh, was that the second one? It was either, no, I think the first one was Iron Man, like by Black Sabbath. I think it was that. I think the second one was Back in Black. But yeah, that's the one thing I will give Iron Man 2, even though that came out in 2010, and that's definitely not going to be on the list. I do not like Iron Man 2, but they always nail the soundtracks in these movies, and the way Robert Downey Jr. played Tony Stark is iconic. I can understand why a lot of people consider him probably the best comic book film casting. I don't. If I'm being honest, it's crazy because he's not even a superhero. But I'm gonna say it. J.K. Simmons is J.J. J. Jonah Jameson. He to me is Jameson. And then I guess if we're going in terms of hero casting, it's probably Hugh Jackman as Wolverine for me. Just because, even though he's not the height, he is. It's tied between him and Ben Affleck as Batman. Because Ben Affleck to me was fucking Batman. He was Bruce Wayne. Like, I don't think any other Batman, live action wise anyway, has nailed both the way Ben did. Even though he got some shitty movies like Justice League and The Flash, unfortunately. But, but still, I love him as Batman. So, but anyway, but Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark, and I can understand why a lot of people love this movie, and it's the one that started it all. And it's crazy that, and unfortunately, the MC went to shit not even just shit, it just went to even before the whole, obviously, everyone says MCU was going down way before that. It was becoming just same bullshit kind of stories, the same kind of tone, and that's what it was, becoming boring and stale. because they kept making the same movie over, especially after Guardians. It was just we got to do that formula over and over. So at least this feels like it does. It's like watching Iron Man 1 and then you just kind of see some of the current MCU or even MCU around like when Civil War came out. It just isn't even the same MCU to me. So yeah, but that's my number 6. My number 5, Punisher Warzone. I love this movie. I don't care if it's the plot isn't the best. You could probably argue objectively Iron Man 1's probably a better movie, but I don't care. I love this movie. I love how balls to the wall it is because there's a lot of Punisher comics that are like that. I think that's why I love it. Because there are Punisher comics that are like the Thomas Jane one where it's more story, but then there are ones like this where they more lean into Frank just being a badass and killing motherfuckers. And maybe the story isn't necessarily the best, but I don't care. I love it. I love Ray Stevenson, R.I.P. is my favorite Punisher. I think he nails, especially comic book Punisher. Like the way he kills people. I think Jigsaw was such an awesome villain. I think he was. I think he. I like him a little bit more than Travolta as a villain in the first one. Because I just think Billy, like he was such a perfect foil for Punisher, and just even I remember her. She's Darla from Buffy, but the wife of the cop that accidentally gets killed because he's undercover when Punisher does a raid because he thinks he's like one of the criminals. There's only one element I don't really like in the movie, and that's the detective, the main detective. Granted, he had a funny line with the Krispy Kreme motherfuckers. I thought that was a pretty funny line, but I don't really feel like he was needed in his whole trying to catch Frank. I didn't need that in the movie. I would have written that out. That'd been the only thing I changed personally. But I really love that movie. I love how it leans in, and also I think they nail in Microchip, who I remember. That's Nedry from Jurassic Park, Wayne Knight. I actually like his character because it was nice having another character in. They definitely went more like comic style Punisher for sure, and I'm happy they did lean into that. Don't get me wrong, I love Thomas Jane's Punisher. It's probably a better movie, but I love this one. I've always have. It's not as strong as the as it's not as strong as that one, but I do love it. I've always every time I watch, I just have fucking fun. Like that scene when he just punches the dude's head in, it's just like, or when the guy was doing parkour, and fucking Punisher just rocket launches the dude out of the air. It's one of the funniest things to me. Um, yeah, but yet like another thing I really um like that opening scene just is really fucking awesome. That's one of like when he like just decapitates people. Um, sorry, I'm trying to. It's like I gotta make sure. I just want to remember what my 3 and 4 are. So I'm going a little bit longer about Punisher. Um, um, sorry about that. Sorry about this. Just give me a second. Um, you know what's not gonna be on my list though? I just remembered what also came out in 2008. That really bad, the Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. That movie was just, oh my god, that movie was terrible. That movie was one of the worst things I remember seeing. Like, it was sad because I was really hyped for the movie because it was Mummy 3 because I was really into the Mummy movies. So, um, 'cause I remember my 1 and 2, it's just my 3 and 4 are just a little hazy right now. embarrassing. Um, this is sorry about that. All right, I might just write my three and four because I remember I one and two. This is gonna be sad because I have it on my thumbnail, but I can't think of it right now, and I don't want to spend like forever trying to find them. Actually, no, I'll make my number three. Um, my number four. It's gonna be a crazy one. I'm just gonna have to change the thumbnail. But my number three is, and I know I do not like this fucker. Y'all know I've never liked this motherfucker, but Cloverfield. I remember being actually pretty hyped for this movie when it came out. The first one. And this is probably the one thing I will give JJ. This is probably the only movie I've really liked that he made. I love how one of the few like found footage movies that's well made. um, I love the creature design's pretty good, and like they get enough of the creature, and the characters are likable enough. And I remember when they were marketing it at the time because they make it seem like I was really getting into Godzilla at the time, or I was always into it, but like they made it seem like it was gonna be Godzilla 2. So that's what I thought this was gonna be, but then they nope, it's gonna be its own thing, and man, it nailed it. I love like the footage. It's sorry about that. Someone's dog. Um, fucking someone's fucking dog. Sorry about that. But yeah, one of the like I just love the creature design. I love the ending when the guy gets eaten. Um, even the scenes with the little Cloverfield monsters were pretty cool. Um, and yeah, I've always liked this movie. And yeah, I know it's fucking JJ who's fucking garbage, who's a hack, but I do like this movie. I've always liked this movie. I remember seeing it in theaters and just being kind of happy it was out. Just be, um, my number three, my new number three, anyway. So I'm just gonna have to make a new thumbnail. Is is Gran Torino uh, with Clint Eastwood. That's one of my favorite fucking movies, and it's a drama. I'm normally not into dramas, but man, this movie hits fucking hard. It it is like such a sad movie. The acting in it, and yeah, there's a lot, and it's just about a you know retired Ford worker named Walt, played by Clint Eastwood. Who, dude, Clint Eastwood just acts his ass off. I mean, yeah, yeah, there's a lot of racial slurs thrown in the movie because he's from the Korean War, and he has kind of a little bias, especially towards Asians. And yeah, there's a scene where he uses the word spook when he was like, when these Asian family gets kind of attacked by like some gangsters, and then yeah, he takes in he eventually gets attached to this guy named um and yeah, he drives off the gangsters, and then eventually, yeah, takes this not takes this, but he almost becomes like a mentor to him, and then and just the story. I don't want to go too. That's one I kind of want to say the plot for you. You need to watch it, but just that ending is just great, and then just it's just the acting. It's one of those films where it's just strictly the acting is just iconic. Um, it it is one of those movies like it will hit you in the feels, man. It will like very much hit you in the feels, and it just um yeah, very much recommend it if you have not seen it. That's all I can really say. Like it is a gut punch kind of movie, and it's not one I do just actively watch like that, but it is definitely an iconic one. But number two, Tropic Thunder. I fucking love this movie. This was one of the first. This is actually my movie that I think where I actually took a girl on it. This is like my first movie date. If I ever like, yeah, like this was the one for me when this came out. And Tropic Thunder is one of the most funny movies ever. Just everything. The fact that obviously, infamously, what happened with Robert Downey Jr. as Kirk Lazarus, who's playing a black dude. I'm a dude who's disguised as another dude. Like, it is such an iconic film, and it's like one of probably my favorite Ben Stiller movie. And I like Ben Stiller, but this was easily his best movie. Like the cast is great: Nick Nolte, Danny McBride, Jack Black. You have Robert Downey Jr. Like Tom Cruise. Oh my God, Tom Cruise as Les Grossman is one of the most iconic. This is easily one of his best performances, and it's not even his movie, but he's easily the VIP. The literally fuck your face. And then the fucking apple bottom jeans scene, and then even the fucking credits when he's dancing to fucking Ludacris is yeah. I actually rewatched this a week or two ago, and man, it's still funny as fuck. I was dying. And then Kirk, the scene with Kirk and Al Pacino. Him and Kirk, because he has a problem with Kirk being Australian, playing a black guy, and then when Al trying to punch him, fucking grabs him and then hugs him. It's like for 400 years that worked. Because he said, "Nick," I was done. I was like my God, I love that movie. That movie that's like comedy, like top best comedies of all time. Like, I mean, like. I definitely recommend it if you haven't. And I love how just it's still unapologetic about how offensive it is. It's just so good. And then yeah, Matthew McConaughey's in it. It's just fun fucking cast. Like probably in terms of ensemble cast, probably one of the best casted movies ever. And like everybody delivered. Yeah. Man, that movie like to this day makes me laugh, man. For sure. We'll review it like for sure for a video. I got to that movie. I have to eventually. But yeah, now my number one. I mean, it needs no introduction. The Dark Knight. I mean, I remember my anticipation for this movie back in that time because I really loved Batman Begins, and man, The Dark Knight just hit like that opening scene where we first see Joker and everything about the acting from everybody. Even like that first Batman scene is just so good. I'm not wearing hockey pads. It's just, dude, Heath Ledger's performance as Joker is legendary. Yes, to like now, I'm more of a Jack Nicholson fan as Joker because he's more like the comic Joker. But I do love Ledger's performance is legendary to this day. Like, I mean, that final fate, the fucking interrogation scene is just so iconic. I love like Gordon in these movies, and Even Two Face, who I feel like does get a little bit undersold a little bit. I really do like him. Aaron Eckhart really killed. I mean, that iconic song "You Live Long Enough to Be the Villain." Yeah, like I really love that movie. Like that Dark Knight was just such an experience. Like I do these days, I do kind of prefer Begins as more of a Batman movie, but this movie is still iconic. Like you can't take that away. I mean, just this was a cinematic accomplishment. I just remember just being coming back and just being wild, and I saw it a lot that summer. Saw it a couple more times that summer. I think at least 3 or 4 times. This is just how good it was. So yeah, I mean that's all I can really say. Dark Knight's iconic and has the um, that boat scene, man. The boat scene where it's just one of the best scenes ever. Like that anticipation, even though there's some nitpicks I have now of it, but it doesn't matter. It's still such a good scene. The only thing I don't really like now is the whole him retiring in the end. I hate it. I think that has aged poorly for me. I don't like the idea of Batman retiring, especially just over a girl. Like, come on, that's kind of shit. But anyway, I love this movie. This movie is definitely my number one. I mean, even that year, I just remember just being so hyped for it. So, but anyway, if my other number, what I might do is in the credits in the comment in the description, I'll probably put what my original number 3 and 4 were. Sorry about that. Mine just went blank. I don't remember why I forgot my other 3 and 4, but the one I put, I'm actually kind of fine with the one I replaced, especially my number 3. I'm sorry, Gran Torino is just such a good film. I'm okay replacing it, but anyway. Tomorrow, Fat Man, which was so fucking good. One another Mel Gibson banger. It's a great Christmas movie, but just a fun action movie too. And it's Mel Gibson, so I'll be reviewing that tomorrow. Other than that, I'm gonna call it here. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all later.